Hi everyone, this is saxophonist Grady Nichols. I wanted to give you a little context about the video you're about to see. Back in the middle of 2023, I started working with a gentleman named St. Paul Peterson, who has a history with David Sanborn, and then his brother is Ricky Peterson, who toured with Sanborn for, I want to say, close to 40 years. And we started working on a song together that I wanted to call Night Music as a dedication to David and his TV show that he had in the late 90s. The song came out, was super happy with it, and to have Ricky and St. Paul play on it, and we had Lenny Castro and some other great musicians as well. Super excited about it. It came out at the end of April on the 26th, I believe. Flash forward 3 weeks, middle of May, and David Sanborn passes away. Uh, I, like so many of you, was tremendously influenced by David. I mean, I probably would not be doing this if I'd never heard him before. And he was so impactful and influential in my life. The video that you're going to watch here in just a few minutes is I had talked to Paul and I wanted to make a thank you video message for David. And Paul was going to get this to David to watch, to kind of explain to David what kind of a impact he'd had on me personally, and how much this song meant to me, and that it was a dedication to him, and that's one of the reasons we call it night music. So it's a video of a one-on-one message that I was going to be explaining and telling David about how much his career and how much he as a person impacted me. So he never got to hear it. He never got to see it. But I'm sharing it with you guys uh, because it tells a little bit about my story and how impactful David Sanborn was on me. But I also think a really good takeaway from it is this, is that no matter what you do for a living, whether it's music or you're a first responder, a teacher, a pastor, a civic leader, whatever it is, you just don't know as you're doing what you do on a daily basis, what kind of an impact you can have on somebody's life. And that's the takeaway from this video is I want you to think about that, that whatever you're doing, you can make a difference right where you are with someone else. So enjoy this video. It's a tribute to David Sanborn and his amazing music. And thankfully, there's so much great music that he has left us to enjoy and study and listen to. So I hope you like the video, and that's all I got. Thank you so much. Hi, David. My name is Grady Nichols. I'm a saxophonist. And the first thing you're probably thinking is, what kind of sax is this? It's actually a Selmer Mark 7. Had a Mark 6, but the 7 came along and I decided to play this one instead. But I just wanted to give you this message of thanks. You have made a huge impact on me personally and in my career as a saxophonist. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my story and then also share with you a little bit of information about this new song I have coming out called Night Music that's dedicated to you. I basically grew up in a small town in Arkansas, Siloam Springs, and you've probably heard of it. It's a huge jazz mecca. So wasn't. Jazz was not readily available, and I was an '80s kid. And the first time I ever heard your saxophone, for whatever reason, my ears have always been drawn to the sax. My parents have told me that when I was a kid, riding in the car, I would hear a sax on the radio and ask my mom, "What is that? What is that sound? What is that?" It was always a saxophone. But the first time I heard you was two different places. I heard you on the Weather Channel, which is kind of an unlikely place, but they used to play really cool smooth jazz on, or just jazz music on the Weather Channel. And I wrote them a letter to ask who all was on their playlist, and you were on it. And then I heard you on a bumper for a local TV station that had a Saturday night late movie, and it was one of your songs. And I wrote them and asked them, "What is that song? Who is that?" So I had to work really hard to find out who you were back then. And when I heard your sound, I was just like, wow, that I have never heard that kind of a sound from a saxophone. And I was like, I want to do that. A lot of formative things happened to me in the 80s. As I grew as a saxophonist, wanting to learn more and figure out how you hit all those high notes, all the altissimo register. No one really in Northwest Arkansas, where I grew up, could tell me how to do that. It's not like today where you can just get on the internet, right, and find anything. I had to basically, when you were on Letterman, I would record all your performances on Letterman with VHS tape, right? And when you would hit a note that I was trying to figure out the fingering to, I would freeze frame it. And then I would look and see how you fingered a high G or G sharp or an A. And that was how I learned, to a certain extent, how to play the high notes, was from watching you on television. I would put in your CDs and I would develop my ear and play along with your songs. When I got into college, I went to a Christian college in Silent Springs, and my degree was in broadcasting. And part of what we had to do was have a shift on our Christian radio station. We had a Christian radio station, and my professors all knew that I was into jazz, and they were into that kind of music as well. And I went to one of them and I said, could I have just 2 hours and do a jazz show? So I had a show on Wednesday nights called Night Music. I wonder where that title came from, right? And I got to play jazz. But one of the things that was super cool is I reached out to all of the record labels to let them know that I had this little jazz show in Silent Springs, Arkansas. So I started getting boxes and boxes of music, which was great. And then what would happen also is when an artist like yourself was coming through the area, I would promote the show, your concert, on my radio show. Well, 1992, you came through Tulsa at it was called the Brady Theater at the time. It's called the Tulsa Theater now. And I reached out to, I think you were on Electra at the time. It was your upfront record that you were out doing. And I reached out to the label and got tickets, got a backstage pass. We gave away tickets on the radio. But what I wanted to tell you about why this song is dedicated to you is, at that concert, in addition to it just being an amazing concert, I got to go backstage and visit with you. Here's a picture of the two of us. This is from like 1992. And you spent 25, 30 minutes of your time with me. And it was just the two of us. After everybody kind of came and went and you signed some autographs, you just hung out with me. You could have got on the bus. I'm tired, kid, go away. But you took the time to really ask me a lot of questions about who I listened to and what I was into and what my goals were as a saxophonist. And you told me to be patient. You asked how old I was, and you just, you were so kind and gracious with your time. And I just want to thank you for that, because you need to know that you made a huge impact on me. That time that we spent was such an encouragement. And it made me, I didn't think I could be a bigger fan, but it made me an even bigger fan. And you've been so influential in my career to pursue being a professional saxophonist. So if you fast forward a little bit into the late 90s, so we're getting to the song Night Music, your TV show, let me go back for a second, your TV show Night Music, I had a friend in Nashville who was kind of a mentor to me, a sax player. You probably know him. His name's Mark Douthit. He tours with Michael McDonald. But Mark was a friend. We couldn't get Night Music. Shocker. We couldn't watch that show here in Northwest Arkansas. Nobody carried it. So he sent me a VHS tape of 6 hours of your show. And I just watched it and just poured over it, because you played with all these different artists, whether it was Dizzy Gillespie or Phil Woods or the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it really impacted on me that you can put the saxophone anywhere and it works. It's that kind of an instrument. But that show was so ahead of its time and such a great show. that influenced the night music naming of my radio show that I had when I was in college, and then this song that we've put out now. But in the late '90s, I had put out two CDs and actually three. I'm sorry, I put out three CDs, and I was looking for a producer, and I knew that I needed to work with somebody with a name to really kind of move my career up the next step. And Jeff Lorber was one of the guys that we met with, and he produced. Jeff's become a great friend, and he produced my first kind of official smooth jazz record. But in the '90s, when we went to LA to meet with all these different people, we went to one of your concerts. I don't remember the venue, but Joe Sample opened for you. It was a trio, and you were promoting songs from the night before that record, and which Ricky Peterson had produced, and then Paul Peterson was on bass. Well, I got to meet you backstage again, but then I also got to meet Ricky, who I was a big fan of, and also Paul. And I was a big fan of St. Paul with all that he'd done with Prince and the family, and really enjoyed talking to them. So, flash forward to now. I have been blessed to work with Jeff Lorber, like I mentioned earlier, Bill Champlin. I played with Kenny Loggins recently. I didn't get to play on Heart to Heart, which would have been super cool to play on the song you played on, but um, got to play What a Fool Believes and some other songs with him. And I worked with Chris Bodie. I've just had a lot of opportunities to work with people I never thought in a million years growing up in a small town I'd get to work with. But I wanted to do a song with Paul Peterson. And we started talking, and I told him how much you meant to me, that how influential you were to me. And so this song, Night Music, came out of that collaboration with not only Paul, but Ricky. So I think it's so appropriate that this song would be dedicated to you, having Paul produce it and then Ricky play on it, who I'd seen with you all those years ago in Los Angeles. So, long story, and I don't even know if you watched the whole thing, but I hope you did, because I just want you to know that that time that you spent with me and the kind of music that you created, it grabbed my soul, David, and it put me on a path to find my own sound. I would read your interviews where it's like, "Hey, there's already a Sanborn," and you're right. Go find your thing, and don't listen to me. Listen to Sonny Rollins. Listen to Hank Crawford, and I did. I listened to all those guys to find my sound. But I just wanted to say thank you. You go through life as an artist, as a musician, and you don't really know what kind of an impact you have on people. And I just wanted you to know you've had a tremendous impact on me. And I just wanted to say, God bless you, David. And thank you so much for being such an important role model and influence in my life. Hope you like the song. Thank you.